Let yourself be great. Unleash your soul. Take your passion, make it happen. That's the goal.
And welcome to another edition of Two Steps Ahead podcast, encouraging you to take your passion, make it happen. Let yourself be great. I'm Son Edom. On the show, we're going to take a look at another pillar of character, and that is caring. Or perhaps if we continue along the theme that we've been doing the last couple episodes, the caring crisis. Why people feel unseen, unheard, and unloved. Basically, it's the true meaning of caring in a self-focused world. I mean, we must admit that the world is pretty self-focused, right? We're in a narcissistic society. We've got social media that points to self. We've got instant gratification. So everything points to me, me, me. But when it comes to caring, you have to take the focus off of me and put the focus on you. It's one of those words that everybody claims to understand. Do you understand it? Do you fully understand it? But do you practice it? Because you see, people say they understand it, but very few people actually practice it well. We say, I care about you, but then we really don't listen, do we? We say, I care, but then we don't show up for that person. We say, I care, but only when it's convenient, only when it's rewarding, or maybe in the public so people can see. And that's our reward. Or maybe we just care when it's emotionally comfortable. Because you see, true caring is not just a feeling. It's not just sympathy. It's not just being nice. Caring is character. It's a character-driven choice to value someone enough to notice them, to listen to them, to respond to them, to sacrifice for them, to protect them. Encourage, maybe? Caring can be encourage them, correct them. A couple things we don't usually connect with caring is encourage and correct, and then stay present when it matters. Caring means another person's life, their pain, their dignity, their needs, their failure, and their future matter to you. And that is what we're going to be talking about at the heart of this episode. So caring has become one of the most overused and underproven words in our culture. How often do you say it? Everybody says it. I care for you. Maybe they show their caring through social media messages. Maybe they show their caring through other ways. But is that true caring? Companies, they say they care about their customers. Leaders say they care about their employees. Coaches say they care about their players. Teachers say they care about their students. Friends say they care about their friends. Families care about each other, right? Politicians, should I even say it? Do politicians really care about their people? They say it, but I think we've come to the conclusion that most politicians don't really care about us. And churches, they say they care about souls, don't they? Another place where a lot of us probably have some doubt and some question as to whether churches today do care about our souls, or do they just care about our money or other things? But here's the real question. If everybody cares so much, why do people feel invisible? Why do people feel unloved? Why do people feel unheard? Why are so many people ignored, dismissed perhaps? Maybe they're used, then forgotten, talked over, overlooked, and emotionally abandoned. Do you feel this way? Or do you do this to other people? Maybe the problem is not people do not know what the word caring means. Maybe the problem is that we've confused caring with convenience. I mean, isn't that true? A lot of times what we do in life is all about convenience, right? Is it convenient for us to show up? Is it convenient enough for us to be there? Is it a convenience or inconvenience And maybe that's how we make our decisions. And that's one of the things that it comes to caring is the convenient versus inconvenient decision. Because often we think about caring when it fits our schedule, when it doesn't cost us anything, when it's easy to love somebody else, when it makes us look good, and when there's something in it for us. And again, that reflects back on the me, the self, the narcissistic world we live in. But real caring is tested when it costs us time. Maybe it costs us our pride, our comfort, our attention, our patience, and our sacrifice. Because you see, real caring will ask, do I still care when no one's applauding me? Do I still care even though the person is difficult? That's a question that teachers have to ask themselves a lot, don't they? Do I still care when helping them slows me down? Sometimes I think about that. I can just push them aside, get the job done quicker, and in my mind, probably better. But do I slow down and show them how to do that so that I care for their future, their well-being, their job, their skills? Do I care when their pain interrupts my plans? Do I care enough to listen instead of talk? And do I still care when I need to tell the truth instead of flatter them? Takes us back to the question, do these jeans make me look fat? Flatter at that point. But you see, caring isn't just an emotion alone. It's proving, or maybe I should say it's proven by your presence. You can prove that by being there. You can prove that by your actions. You can prove your caring by sacrifice, by consistency, and how we treat other people when they have nothing to offer us. This world is growing louder, isn't it? Growing colder. Not talking climate change. It's talking about the cold-hearted person, the cold shoulder. It's becoming a faster paced society. People are becoming angrier, more distracted with our phone in our hands and other distractions to keep us from really looking at the problems that we face. We're obviously becoming more self-centered as a result of that. Caring may be one of the most revolutionary character traits we can recover. Would you like to recover the characteristic of caring? People do need advice. They need to know what matters. They need to know that they matter, that what you're doing matters, that you matter. People need to matter. They don't need just your opinion, but they need your compassion. They don't need just your correction. They need your connection. They don't need someone to say, I understand. They need someone that would be willing to stop, listen, and enter the moment with them. Because what caring does, or maybe caring says and does, I see you, so you're there. I hear you, so you listen. You matter, and you demonstrate that to them. Your pain is not invisible to me, so you help them ease the pain, perhaps. Your future matters to me, so maybe you stop. Show them how to do it, even though you could push them aside, do it yourself, and probably do it better. I'm willing to be inconvenienced by love. That may be exactly what we need in our relationships, in our homes, in our schools, our workplaces, churches, and society. Say, I see you. I hear you. You matter. Your pain is not invisible to me. Your future matters to me. And I'm willing to be inconvenienced by love. And then actions follow up those words. So what is caring? Have you ever thought about it? What is caring? Well, it's not merely liking someone. It goes deeper. That's what we talk about, things that go deeper. It's deeper than affection. It's more than politeness. It's more than emotional reaction. So here's a strong working definition if you really want to know what caring is, okay? Caring is the intentional act of valuing another person's well being enough to pay attention, to respond with compassion, and to act for their good. It's the intentional act of valuing another person's well being enough to pay attention, to respond with compassion, and act for their good. And that serves several parts, doesn't it? So, first is caring does notice. You cannot care well about someone and yet refuse to notice. Just doesn't happen. You have to notice if you're going to care for somebody. You might notice a change in their tone, a change in their behavior, a change in their mood, maybe energy, maybe a change in their effort or maybe lack thereof, and in their pain. It's kind of like that, not really an analogy, but the saying is like, yeah, they're a little off. Yeah, I did notice they were a little off. If you watch crime shows, then they will always ask the question, the detectives will be, did you notice anything different about the person? Well, they seemed a little off. So yeah, maybe there was a change in tone, behavior, mood, energy, effort, etc. They just weren't themselves, right? Do you notice that? A careless person says, I didn't know. Did you know that? I didn't know. A caring person often says, I noticed. Now, again, we do have to be careful because it is hard to define between caring and being careless. I did not notice. Okay, maybe it is somebody that isn't really in our sphere, our social sphere. Maybe they are just kind of on the outside of that, and we may not notice. We may not notice. But if they're in our inner circle, so to speak, or if they're in our working sphere, then perhaps maybe we should notice. So not only does caring notice, but it listens. Caring listens. Listening is one of the clearest proof of caring. Not always having answers, not always talking back, giving them ideas. It's just listening, being there, listening. Many people listen only to reply, to correct, to defend, or maybe redirect the conversation back to themselves, to me. Oh yeah, that reminds me of the time I did, or this happened to me, or I felt this way. But when we really care, we listen to understand what they're going through. We are quick to listen, slow to speak. We're there for them. We don't rush them through their pain. Oh my goodness, this is an inconvenience. They're calling again. What's their problem? Why can't they just get over it? No, we take the time, even though it inconveniences us, to see them through their pain. We don't minimize their problem. Heard a story one time, a gal I worked with, her husband died. She eventually left the company, came back maybe a year and a half later, just to kind of visit everybody because she had been there for a long time. And one of the things she said was that she had kind of lost some friends along the way because of her grief. And people were trying to tell her, oh, you should just get over it by now. It's been a year. It's been a year and a half. You should be over it by now. Stop grieving. Get back to normal. And so she lost some friends over that because the grief process is indeterminate. Each person travels that journey alone, and you might not ever get over it. That's not caring, telling them to get over it. That's not listening. That's minimizing the problem, right? Probably not even realizing what they're doing because they didn't notice. They didn't listen. Because caring notices, caring listens. And a caring listener does not say, that is nothing. Let me tell you what happened to me. It makes room for the other person to tell the story, is what caring does. So caring notices, it listens, it responds. It's not passive. It does not stop at, oh, that's too bad. Sorry to hear that. Maybe you ask instead, what can I do for you? How can I help you in your time of hurt? Can I do something? Can I help you in any fashion? Can I call you back? Maybe check up on you. Oftentimes people will disappear in times of pain, in times of struggle, and they won't reach out. You might say to them, hey, call me anytime if you need anything. But then we don't reach out. We wait for them to call us, but then they never do because they're not in that mode. They're not in that mood. And so, hey, can I check up with you in a week or two? Can I call you? Maybe not even check up. That sounds so clinical. Can I call you? Maybe we go get coffee. Maybe we go get lunch. Do something. Oftentimes, well, not oftentimes. Let me change that to this story instead. Because when my friend Chris died years ago when we were in high school, one of the lessons I learned that came out of that eventually, it wasn't immediate, wasn't right away, but I learned eventually through time, was that just being there for someone, even if you don't talk to them, even if there's no real interaction, but just being there for them. So maybe you just show up and sit on the couch. Maybe you just show up and whatever. But just being there for them made them feel that they were not forgotten, made them feel loved, made them feel in a time where they were dealing with loss, that their entire loss isn't their son and his social circle, all the friends that used to come over and hang out. Imagine that. Imagine that you are in a situation where you have a loved one. Let's say it's a kid and high school and all the activities. I mean, Chris had a pool, so there'd be a lot of pool parties. He had a band. People come over and practice in the band. And so you had this social network of people that would come over, a social circle of people that would come over. And then when he died, I would imagine that disappeared pretty quickly. So not only was there a loss of their son, but there was a loss of his social circle and all that activity. So just being there, even if you interacted or if you didn't, but just being there for them, letting them know that you're there is a huge sign of caring. And that's one of the things that I think is the most important that I've learned throughout life when it comes to caring, is just letting them know that you are there. Hey, can I check up on you? Hey, can I call you back? Hey, can I reach out? Hey, can I come visit? Hey, let's go get lunch. Don't feel like it? How about if I just come pick you up and we just sit in the booth? We don't even say anything. Whatever it is, you have to take the steps, because then in the end, a caring person will ask, how can I strengthen you? And you might not ask that intentionally, like verbally, but maybe that's in your mind. How can I strengthen them? And maybe you do that by just being there. Maybe you do that by just a phone call, not a text, but a phone call. Maybe you do that, but hey, how can I help? Can I bring you something? Can I get you something? Can I run errands for you? Is there something I can do? So caring, it notices, it listens, responds, and it acts. Take action. Because when we act, it's a visible sign of us caring. We're sending a message, we're checking in, we're showing up, we're making a call. All that. We might not get the response we're looking for, but by doing these actions, sending a message, making a call, checking in, it helps carry the load for a little bit of time, perhaps, or part of the load for this particular situation. So we need to act. Caring does provide or protect someone's dignity. It doesn't exploit someone in their weakness. It does not gossip about their pain. It does not use their vulnerability as ammunition later. True caring protects people when they are exposed. Caring protects dignity. Can't tell you how many times growing up in Los Angeles, you hear the story of these runaways. You don't really hear it too much anymore, at least maybe because it's not as popular. Maybe it's too common. But you hear about these runaways that would come out to LA and they wanted to be a superstar. They wanted to be the next it person. And a lot of them you would find at, restaurants. There'd be, a waiter, waitress, and they had their night job because during the day they would go on auditions and calls. But then you hear these stories of people that would then be taken advantage of in their vulnerabilities. Maybe they didn't have any money. So someone would take them in and then use them to their advantage. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad when you are the one that's going to exploit their weakness and exploit their vulnerabilities and use that for your advantage instead of protecting them when they're exposed. So caring protects their dignity. Caring tells the truth. Okay. We don't want to enable somebody. Yeah, you have a problem. You have a drinking problem. You have a this problem. You have a that problem. I'm going to tell you the truth right now. Let's get you some help. I'm going to walk this journey with you. I'll be your sponsor. Sometimes caring does comfort, though, right? We got to tell the truth. So we got to comfort them. We got to correct them. We got to encourage them. And then sometimes we got to confront them. If someone is destroying their lives, we can't stay silent. That's not caring for them. They might not like what we have to say, but at least we know that we did our due diligence to speak up and not abandon them. If someone is hurting others, we need to let them know. It's not pretending that nothing is wrong, because you see, real caring is kind. Real caring is kind. It's not cowardly. So if that is caring, okay, it notices, caring listens, it responds, it acts, it protects dignity, and it tells the truth. Well, then what is caring not? Okay, it's not the same as being nice. In fact, one reason we misunderstand caring is because we confuse it with weaker substitutes like being nice. Niceness is often about avoiding conflict. Caring is about seeking the good. A nice person may avoid hard conversations because they don't want tension. Do you do that? A caring person might have that hard conversation because they love someone too much to let them continue on that harmful journey, going in that wrong direction. We're going to protect them at the cost of maybe comfort. We're going to protect people at the cost of whatever it might be, because you see, niceness protects comfort, but caring protects people. Caring is not the same as people pleasing. People pleasing people say, I need you to like me. Caring people say, I want what is good for you. There's a big difference. I want what's good for you, whether or not you like what I have to say. And you might not like what I have to say. But people pleasing people, I need you to like me. A people pleaser may say yes to everything, and that might become then a resentful situation. A caring person learns to set boundaries, because boundaries protect love from becoming bitter. Got to have boundaries. Got to protect yourself. Therapists, counselors, doctors, all those people that are in the business of people, they'll have boundaries. Caring is not control. Some people will say, I only act this way because I care. But what that really means is, I just want to control you. Act this way because I care. No, you just want to be controlling, which oftentimes is a passive aggressive way of approaching things. Because you see, real caring does not manipulate someone. It does not dominate someone. And it does not get someone to be obedient by using guilt. Instead, caring respects human dignity. Do you respect human dignity? Or are you the one out there trying to do things for yourself? Caring is not a performative compassion. Big difference. This is one of the biggest problems we have in modern society today. Some people will care loudly in public, but then they disappear privately. Have you known people to do that? Where they're out there? I think we see this a lot in society when it comes to national issues. People might be out protesting. People might be out speaking loud in public, but then they don't really care. I know we know that. I know we've seen that. They're loud in public, but they disappear in private. They're loud on social media, but they disappear in private. They post like hashtags and other things on social media, But what does that really do? That doesn't help the person next to them. They speak passionately about compassion and what we need to do, but then they treat the waiter, the cashier, maybe the student employee, or maybe a family member, spouse, or child with impatience. Caring is not emotional reaction only. Feeling bad for someone's not the same as caring for someone. Compassion, yeah, it can begin with an emotion. A lot of times things we do begin with emotion, but then we must move towards action. I mean, think about those late night Sarah McLachlan Save the Dog. It tries to get you at your emotion and then the motion to act, either sponsor a dog or send them money or maybe adopt a dog. And that can be heartbreaking. It can be heartbreaking to see those dogs in those cages all sad, or maybe the ones with the little kids. But then when the commercial's over, we're done. So I might have had sympathy for a little bit, but in the end, I don't really care. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing if you don't donate to those things. That's not what I'm saying. That's just a quick analogy of what it means to not take action when there's a performative compassion as opposed to true action. So why does caring matter so much? Why does it matter? Because it's powerful. That's why. Some of the strongest relationships, such as teams and families, schools, churches, other organizations, they're built on the character of caring. It creates trust. I have your best interest at heart. It grows when people know that they're not being used. When someone knows you care for them, they can relax. They can be honest. People can grow together. People can grow individually. When they receive that correction without assuming rejection, iron sharpens iron as one man sharpens another. We should be able to correct people. And it doesn't have to be in the corrective form of, hey, you did this wrong, and jump on them and tell them what's up. But it could be like, maybe like David, when it was found out what happened and what he did. There was an analogy used, and David was like, this person should be put to death. And then it was like, dude, that's you. Or many times Jesus would approach people and he wouldn't approach them from a condemnation standpoint. You just talk to them, woman at the well, have a drink of water. The adulterer that they wanted to stone started drawing something in the sand, looks up, says, women, where are your accusers? They're not here. Well, I don't accuse you either. Go and sin no more. And the one thing that always happens is he didn't approach them from a condemnation or a judging manner, but he always called them out on what they did and told them to go and sin no more. If you truly care, don't continue what you're doing. And maybe that's what we need to do sometimes, is take that approach. Hey, you know what? This is what's going on and it's not good. Instead of approaching them from the standpoint of, hey, judging, condemnation from the negative, approach it from the positive. Caring does create emotional safety. That's pretty important these days since everybody seems to be emotionally fragile. A child will open up to a parent that listens. A student tries harder when a teacher cares. An athlete responds to a coach who believes in them. An employee will go the extra mile when the leader values them. And a spouse becomes more vulnerable when they feel cherished and not merely tolerated. If you're a leader, do you, in any of these capacities, do you show caring? Do you get the most out of people by caring for them? Or do you get the most out of people by yelling at them, shouting them down, getting after them, being mean? Caring does bring healing. Isolation seems to add to a lot of problems when people have struggles, right? They go deeper and deeper and deeper into whatever it is that they're struggling with. But if you're there, you bring them out of that isolation and it becomes healing. Sometimes when people get hurt, it's not only just what happened to them, But it's that feeling that nobody noticed, nobody cared, nobody came, nobody asked about it. They become invisible. And that makes it worse, that isolation. Caring's not going to ease every pain. We're not going to be able to heal everything, but it can interrupt loneliness. And everybody wants to everybody wants to feel like they belong somewhere. Caring builds character. You become less selfish over time. In this me first society, you're now becoming less selfish. Caring will train us to look beyond ourselves. It will challenge pride. It will challenge impatience, our ego, indifference, convenience. See, that's why it's a character thing. It's a character thing because it helps us become better people if we do it the right way. And it's something that we have to practice. It's not something that we're just good at. We might think we are, but it takes real practice. It takes real practice to sit and listen, not just hear. It takes real practice to show up. It takes real practice when you're doing the character of caring. Because caring will make us ask others who needs encouragement. And maybe we're not asking these questions out loud to other people, but we're asking them to ourselves. Who here needs encouragement? Who here is being overlooked? Is there anyone that has a burden that they're not sharing? And you're looking around at the people. Is there someone that needs me to stand with them? Is there someone that needs truth spoken in love? And see, it goes back to noticing. When you take action in caring, it brings you to a point of action. When you really do care, there's going to be action. You ask yourself, do they need encouragement? Well, I think that person over there, I'm going to go give them a word of encouragement. Is someone being overlooked? Well, that person kind of sits by themselves at lunchtime. Maybe I'll invite them to join our group. Someone need truth spoken in love. Well, that person's doing something they probably shouldn't. And not just because it's my opinion they shouldn't. It's not just my belief that they shouldn't, but overall, they're just doing something they shouldn't do. I'm going to go talk to them in love and let them know that. Finally, caring improves society. Would you agree that society without care becomes cold, transactional, and suspicious? Earlier, we talked about how, businesses, do they really care about customers, or are you just a number? Do schools and school districts care about students, or are they just a test score? Are patients just cases to doctors? Or employees just a bottom line, a means to an end, the end being money? Are customers just revenue? Prices go up. I don't care how it bothers them. I'm making money. Citizens, they're just voting blocks. This is a big one, right? Do politicians really care about us? Probably not. Well, do they want to vote? Absolutely. Will they say anything they can to get you to vote for them? Sure. Do they follow up? Absolutely not. Are they asking you? Are they asking themselves, do you need encouragement? Are you being overlooked? Are they standing with you when the chips are down? No. They're narcissistic. And so when neighbors become strangers, caring is gone. Caring does restore humanity. Now, I'm not saying go out and be buddy best friend with your neighbor and force the issue, but there's that concept of being neighborly, right? What was it? Wilson in Home Improvement, when he was over the fence, he was neighborly. So we could just be neighborly, right? So let's take a look real quick at the biblical meaning of caring. I like to throw this in because caring does come from a place of spirituality. And for me, my spirituality is based on biblical principles. So biblically speaking, caring is not optional. It is central to faith. So now, instead of becoming voluntarily, if you bring it into your religion, to your belief, to your theology, your spirituality, it's something that you must do. Are we doing it the right way? Or are we doing it the wrong way? That's the next question. The Bible does not present caring as just a sentiment. It's love in motion. It's action. So the things we just talked about from a non-biblical perspective, let's say, now we go and we can see that a lot of this is backed up through biblical principles, biblical scripture. Because first of all, God cares for people. That's one of the most important biblical truths, is that God isn't distant, cold, or indifferent. Now, you might think that, but it's not really true if you are a true believer. 1 Peter 5:7 says, cast your anxiety on him because he cares for you. If you haven't done that, maybe try it. See, I see a lot of people out there try different things in society, okay? They'll try, I don't know, Mother Earth, Greenpeace, Save the Planet, those type of things, activism in the natural world. Then they might try other things like crystals and rocks and whatever else. And then they might find something else, maybe chanting in the forest or whatever. Maybe they get into exercise. Maybe they get into certain foods. Maybe they get into holistic medicine. Maybe they get into other supernatural things. They're always searching for something. And I've known people that have tried many different things. They've even tried other religions. And yet they're still not satisfied. They're still searching, but they'll try things. And they'll be like, hey, why don't you try God? No. Why? You've tried all these different things. You've tried yoga. You've tried holistic medicine. You've tried chanting to the moon. I mean, whatever it is. And I'm not making fun of those things. I'm just saying they've tried all these things, but yet you refuse to try God. Why? Well, maybe that tells you that the one entity that you should try is God, because you refuse. Something is keeping you from that. So just try it. Try it for a month. See what happens. Try it for a week. Although I don't really think a week's time. You can't go to the gym and work out for a week and be like, hey, there's no results, I'm quitting. Right? Got to give it a little bit of time, just like you did with your yoga, just like you did with your crystals, just like you did with your dream catcher, just like you did with your Native American spirituality, but it left you empty. So why not try God? God cares for people. And so when he says, cast all your anxiety on him in 1 Peter because he cares for you, that's a pretty powerful statement. Because it's not just God ruling over creation. He cares for his people. He's attentive to our fears, our pain, our need, our weakness. And that is a biblical character of God, and not just a character of the world. It's caring. Caring is a biblical character of God, and it's also a character in this world. Jesus, he modeled care through compassion. I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, but throughout the Gospels, Jesus repeatedly noticed people that others ignored, whether it was the sick, the poor, the grieving, the outcast, the hungry crowds, the sinner, Zacchaeus in a tree, the woman at the well, Bartimaeus calling from the roadside. Bartimaeus was the blind man. Blind man sits on the road and cries. Jesus did not only care about the crowd, but he cared about the individuals. Jesus showed us how to care personally and not just think about us as numbers. What about the Good Samaritan? Right? The Good Samaritan showed that care is a costly compassion. Luke 10 gives the account of the Good Samaritan, a man beaten, robbed, and left for dead. Religious figures pass by. They see him, but they don't do anything. They see a need as a religious person, but they avoid the cost. Then eventually a Samaritan stops, bandages his wounds, uses his own oil, maybe his own wine or whatever he had, places him on his animal, takes him to an inn, pays for his care, promises to cover additional expenses. The story teaches us that caring is not proven by religious titles or social status or good intentions. It's proven by mercy. The Samaritan cared because he allowed another person's suffering to interrupt his journey. And that is the major point. So whenever you're thinking about caring, think about the Good Samaritan. It interrupted his journey. And the other thing that the Good Samaritan story points out is that the Samaritan was helping a Jew, a Jewish person, and they were at odds with each other. So then there's that. So they take it a step further. So the compassion isn't just person to person, but it's the compassion between two entities of people that as a society were at odds with each other. And so the Samaritan interrupted his journey to take care of somebody that needed it. Real caring allows love to interrupt the schedule. Also, biblical caring. Jesus connected love for God with love for neighbor. When asked, what is the greatest commandment? To love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. That's what it says. You cannot claim a deep love for God while practicing deep indifference towards people. Now, that's not to say that you're going to go out there and be just radical crazy and put yourself in harmful situations. Oh, I've got to go to this country because there's a lot of hardship going on. Or I've got to go do this. Well, unless God is truly calling you for something extreme, maybe you should pray about it before you act. But in day-to-day interactions with people, absolutely. In our world that we live in, our social circle, family circle, work circle, whatever, that's where we can really impact and build our character of caring. Caring does include bearing others' burdens. Galatians 6:2. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way, you will fulfill the law of Christ. That is caring. Can't just say, hey, I hope your burden gets lighter. I hope your problem's resolved. I'll pray for you. Prayer does matter. And you can tell them that. I'm going to pray for you. I know I've had this talk before, but, hey, I'm sending good vibes. Thoughts and vibes. I know a lot of people poo-poo that. And yes, I really understand from a biblical perspective that thoughts and vibes. But the sentiment there, if they truly mean it, not just off the cuff, kind of like the, hey, how are you? Well, do we really care how somebody is in passing, or does it just become a greeting? Well, it'll probably just become a greeting, right? I'm fine. When you say, hey, how are you? And someone stops and tells you, you're like, oh man, what did I say? What did I get myself into? It's like that. As long as you really do in turn, as long as you really do mean it and you are into it, then you say, I'm going to send you thoughts and vibes. But if it's passive and it's just like, whatever, who cares? Make it mean something. Okay? Let's see where we're at. Caring includes practical help. James 2 challenges the idea of empty compassion. If someone lacks clothes and food, and you simply say, go in peace, keep warm, and be well fed, what good is that going to do them? We need to care. We need to put things into action. It's not just a verbal caring, it's a practical caring. And it includes correction. Proverbs 27:6 says, wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. So yeah, we want our friends to be there to correct us. Correct us in kindness, correct us in compassion, correct us is caring. In other words, sometimes a caring friend tells you what a flattering enemy never will. A caring person does not always tell you what you want to hear, but it does tell you what love requires. See, in love, we need to do that. In love, I need to tell you what's up. And then some other things, even outside the biblical framework of caring, it's recognized as an essential human development. It's recognized as essential emotional health, and relationships, leadership, and society all benefit from caring, or at least understanding it. There's caring and empathy. Empathy, the ability to understand or share another person's emotional experience. But caring does go a step further. Empathy says, I understand what you may be feeling, while caring says, because I understand, I am moved to respond. So again, caring is followed up with action. Have you not picked that up by now? Empathy without action can become passive. Caring gives empathy direction. What about caring and emotional intelligence? Emotionally intelligent people are aware of their own emotions and sensitive to other people's emotions. Caring requires emotional intelligence because it asks us to notice what people may not say directly. We have to be active, not passive. We have to take note. Someone says, I'm fine, but someone that's caring hears, okay, something's wrong. Now, if you ask me how I'm doing and I say I'm fine, I'm fine. Okay, that's not me. I've said I'm fine all the time. So it might not always be that there's something wrong. Know the person. If they always go on and say, hey, how's everything? Oh, it's great, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, oh, I'm fine. Tone, mood, we talked about that earlier, right? A change in tone, a change in mood, a change in energy, a change in how they are. So again, I'm fine. If you ask me, I'm going to say I'm fine when I am fine. So there's not always something wrong when that happens. But we're in tune with that person, so we really know when they're not fine. Or someone says, hey, what's up? Oh, whatever. Ooh, is there a feeling of dismissal? When someone gets angry, is that anger covering hurt? A caring person will want to find out. Caring does not excuse bad behavior, but it tries to understand what's beneath it. So whenever there's bad behavior going on, you need to figure out maybe what's going on underneath it. That's something maybe particular in schools, teachers. Maybe we need to take a second look at a student that's misbehaving. Maybe there's something more going on. Maybe they missed breakfast at home. They were too late to school to get breakfast. Maybe there's a fight between the parents, something else. Yeah, that is compassion. That is sacrificing our journey of the school day. But maybe that's more important than the lesson that was scheduled for today. Something to think about. What about caring in leadership and relationships, that type of environment? Well, great leaders do care. Bad leaders will use people to accomplish goals, but good leaders will develop people while accomplishing goals. A caring leader does not lower their standards. A caring leader raises people while holding the standards true. Raise your standard. Always talk about it on the show. Raise the standard in your life so you can take your passion, make it happen, let yourself be great. In society today, in schools and every place, we lower the standard. California recently put out something. Don't know if they're going to do it or not, but like to get an A on your report card was like down to almost near an 80%, 84%. A B was like a 72%. I mean, they're lowering the standards every day in education when they should be raising them, and not only raise them to an unachievable standard, but raise them to the point where it's a good standard. And now let's bring the kids up. But apparently we can't do that. What about caring in relationships? Have you ever had a relationship that collapsed, fell apart? Did it happen overnight? Probably not. Probably because people stopped asking questions. Maybe they stopped listening to you. Maybe they stopped noticing, stopped apologizing. They stopped making effort. I think that's the big one. People just stop making effort. And then friendships just disappear. Sometimes I'm guilty of that. We get too busy. And yet we don't take the time to make sure that that relationship is being tended to, cultivated. People stop showing appreciation and they stop choosing each other. And maybe it gets to the point where they say, you don't care anymore. If you're in another type of relationship, maybe a romantic type of relationship, it gets to the point where it says you never had feelings. Your actions stop communicating value. And so when it comes to caring, we got to remember that it is action. There's action involved because people stop caring. They'll stop caring for a myriad of reasons. Maybe they were disappointed at a time. Maybe they were ignored. Maybe they felt betrayed. Maybe exhaustion takes place because the point in life is too busy. Maybe you see people that say, I just don't have it in me anymore. People stop caring because they're emotionally exhausted. They're drained. It's the end of the school year. Everyone's drained, emotionally exhausted. And so maybe we stop caring because a drained heart eventually struggles to feel deeply. We just run out of gas. I tell people, my kind of philosophy is I'm going to give you 100% of whatever I've got. If I have 100% in the tank, I'll give you 100%. If I have 50% in the tank, I'll give you 100% of my 50%. If I've got 5% in the tank, I'll give you 100% of my 5%. But keep in mind, with me giving you 100%, my tank only has 5%, 50%. So wherever my tank is, that's all I can give you. I'll give you all of what I've got, but what I've got might not be my all. So just keep that in mind. When we start to drain emotionally, we struggle to feel deeply. People stop caring because they were hurt by other people that they cared about. I'll never care like that again. Have you heard that? Or maybe someone now has a guarded heart, and so they'll say, I will care with discernment. Or maybe I refuse to care at all because their heart's so hardened. People stop caring because they feel used, unappreciated, or taken for granted. You do that? People might say they don't value me. Or maybe they question, do they value me? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. So they just stop caring, stop planning, stop reaching out. People stop caring because maybe they feel powerless to make a difference. What difference does it make if I do this? People stop caring because they feel self-absorbed. Maybe they feel distracted. Maybe they ask themselves, am I paying attention enough to care? Do I even care? Because they just don't have the time. Philippians 2 challenges us to look not only at our own interests, but also the interests of others. That does not mean your needs do not matter. It means that your needs are not the only needs that matter. And so sometimes we do have to take into consideration that other people are struggling. And even though we are struggling, we need to also make time for others. So finally, some signs of true caring. Okay, real quick run through. What does true caring look like? Well, if you're going to care for someone, you're going to pay attention to them. You're going to notice when something is different. You're going to listen without making everything about yourself. You're going to give them room to speak. They remember what matters to you, or you remember what matters to them, I guess is the other way of putting it. You show up when it's inconvenient, when you have to interrupt your journey, like the Good Samaritan. You tell the truth with love. You don't flatter people into failure. You protect their dignity. You do not expose their weakness for your entertainment. You're consistent. It's not just one emotional moment, but it's a pattern of behavior that shows you care. You will help without needing the applause or taking credit. You respect their boundaries. And you want what's good for them, not just approval. So again, the signs of true caring. You pay attention. You listen without making everything about you. You remember what matters to them. You show up when it's inconvenient. You tell the truth with love. You protect their dignity. You're consistent. You help others without the applause. You respect their boundaries. And you want what's good for them and not just their approval. And that's the signs of true caring. So the question comes down to it then. Caring is a character pillar. Caring requires action. Caring requires action in noticing and then doing, paying attention, being attentive. And it's something that we need to practice. And if we practice it, then perhaps maybe people will stop being lonely, stop being unseen, stop being unloved. And then maybe society does become better. Maybe then we do raise the standard, not only in the raise the standard in our lives, but we raise the standard in the people around us. And so now as we raise the standard, society is getting better. And now we're to the point where we can take our passion, make it happen, and let ourselves be great. I'm Son Edom. This is Two Steps Ahead podcast. You can check out our website, radiowarp.com. That's radio, W-A-R-P, radiowarp.com. You can click on the Two Steps Ahead podcast show logo, and our past shows will pop up there in video form. There's also a link, a green link that goes across the page. It's our Podbean link, hosts our audio site. You can click on that, and it'll take you to our audio site. You can download those and take them with you on the go. We're also on YouTube and Rumble. As far as the video goes, audio, we're pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartMedia, Apple Podcast. Do an internet search, TWO, Two Steps Ahead podcast, and we pop up. Hey Siri, hey Google, hey Alexa, play Two Steps Ahead podcast, and we pop up. And it's popping up on my phone right now. And then we're pretty easy to find on social media, all the hot spots. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. No, you won't find me dancing on those sites, but you will hear clips of the show. You can reach out via DM. We're out there. Now my phone's playing the show. So again, whether it's through social media and a message, a direct message, or our email address, TWO, Two Steps Ahead Podcast at gmail.com, Two Steps Ahead Podcast at gmail.com. You can reach out, and I'm here for you. And again, if I can't help you, I'll find somebody that can. Or if you just want to reach out and say hi, that'd be great too. Let me know what you think. So, caring. Do you care? Do you show caring? Or is this a challenge for you to maybe step up your caringness? That is up to you. Two Steps Ahead podcast, encouraging you, take your passion, make it happen, let yourself be great. I'm Son Edom. Hey, thanks for listening. Do tell a friend. And until next time, God bless.